What's up, everybody? Welcome to Speak Live. Hey, how you doing? Hi, how are you? How are you doing? Okay, so the perfect match. Wow, you're dating, or you want to date, or you're in a relationship, or you might be getting married, or you're engaged, or maybe you're just looking to make some friends. Because what is a relationship, right? Relationships at the core are friendship. The only thing that delineates or differentiates a romantic relationship from a platonic relationship is sex, right? I mean, otherwise, relationship at their cores are friendships. All right, so how to find the perfect match. Wow, I got the study right here, you son of a. Hey, don't forget, like and subscribe. The least you can do is like and subscribe, and then you don't have to watch. Okay, we don't care. All right, we care. We love you. All right, so it's funny because I'm on the dating scene, ladies. I'm available, although maybe I'm not after this. Episode, but who knows? Okay, so when you're on the dating scene, right? You have these. We project, right? And like, what do we want? Let's start off with this. And by the way, I know a little something about dating. I'm DJ Anthony. Look, it says it right there. DJ Anthony. I am a DJ. You are not, which means I have a lot of experience in love and dating. Okay, I have a lot of messing up. But yeah, listen, I'm in my 50s. I've been married, divorced, I've dated, bazillion women. I'm a pain in the ass. What do you want me to tell you? But my point is, I know a little something about what to look for, what not to look for, and So let's start off with this. There's no such thing as a perfect match. That it's impossible because you know why? We're not perfect. I am not perfect. You're not perfect. Only God's perfect. So if none of us are perfect, then how can you find a perfect match? I think that's a problem because we all say, oh, yeah, I know. But do you really know? So I think going into looking for new friends or looking for a romantic partner, going into that understanding nothing is perfect, that's a good thing. Then, you have a greater chance of finding true friendship or true love. So let's start off with that. There's no such thing as a perfect match. It's just not. No such thing as a perfect friendship. There's no such thing as a perfect marriage. If anybody says that, they're fucking full of shit. And that's okay. And in a way that makes it even stronger because when you love somebody for their faults, because I have faults, you have faults, pressure makes diamonds. So, because if everything was perfect, then it's not even valuable because it's just easy. I'm not saying you have to be in a toxic relationship. That's not good either. And you shouldn't put up with bullshit. But at the same time, it shouldn't be like, if it's not perfect, or it's not perfect, I'm not going to, you know what I mean? So, okay. So the first thing I would say is to look for our quote unquote perfect match would be things in common, right? I mean, that's right out of the gate, right? We're going to look for that. Like, hey, do we have something in common? If it's, by the way, this episode's kind of more about romantic, but anyways, the first thing you're gonna notice is the person's looks. Are you physically attracted? Duh. You can't be dating pizza girl or pizza boy. They got fucking pizza on their face. You know what I mean? We're not looking for that. But if you're attracted to the person that's relatively speaking, then hey, that's a win, right? So aside from that, because looks only go so far, we all know that. We all been there, right? You're with somebody, you think they're hot. After about a month, you're like, oh my God, get me out of here. But anyways, so things in common would be the second thing we were looking for. Now, things in common, that's a little bit of a tricky thing because to say like, oh, well, we have things in common. Okay. I mean, I've been in relationships where on paper, I mean, we had a million things in common. Reality, we fucking hated each other. So I don't know. So things in common is a part of the puzzle. It's not everything. It's a part of the puzzle. So yes, like, oh wow, you like to read nonfiction, so do I. You like sushi, so do I. You like the New York Giants, so do I. You like to jog, so do I. You like fishing, so do I. You like Mariah Carey, so do I. That's all good. You're Catholic, so am I. But and that's good. We want those things, and we want as much of those as possible. But here are the other things that you have to consider, and that is we want somebody that I don't believe in opposites attract. I believe in birds with a feather flock together. Now, you do need some points here and there that are opposite, but for the most part, you need more similarities, So that's what I look for. Birds with a feather flock together. And the more similarities you have in interests and in demeanor and sensibilities and dispositions and morals, the more similarities in those, the better off you are. You know what I mean? To find your true love. But okay, now after opposites and similarities and birds of a feather flock together, we're looking for sensibilities. So, like, what do I mean by that? Like, well, you know, your emotional, your EQ, your emotional quotient. You know, are you a drama king or drama queen? That's not good. You know, if your sensibilities are very like, oh my god, I get offended. You know, then you probably do want to be with somebody then is that's very sensitive, right? Your sensibilities. If you're like, yeah, fuck, I don't give a shit. You want a guy or a girl that's going to be similar to that, not exact, but similar, right? You can't have like, I don't give a shit about anything. I'm bulletproof, and then oh my god, I get offended about everything, or I get offended about everything. Yeah, then it's like ain't gonna work out because you're way too opposite. And again, opposites and some and similarities are scale here. I'm not saying it has to be bookends, but generally speaking, you both have to be relatively sensitive people or relatively kind of you know, uh, water off a duck's back type of people, generally speaking. So your sensibilities need to be kind of similar there. I would say your demeanor is important too, like your outward look to the world. Like if I'm dressing like a friggin' slob and I have bad hygiene and things like that, and I, you want to find a partner that's going to be similar to that. So if you don't wash your if you don't wash your ass, you want to find someone who doesn't wash their ass. You can't be, walking properly and, well groomed and, dressed decent, tuck your shirt in and, have a a regalness about you, and then you're going to be with the street bum. Yeah, like you usually not. Now, again, I'm not saying you got to wear furs and diamonds and things like that, but demeanor. So like my demeanor, typically I'm kind of like a, well, it depends. So I tend to be, my demeanor is more very casual. I wear shit like this. You know what I'm saying? Like jeans, t-shirt type of guy. You know, yeah, I own a tux. I own suits. I like to get dressed up once in a while. But I'm a jeans and t-shirt type of guy. My demeanor, I tend to be a little bit loud, a little boisterous, little very 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 outgoing. That's my demeanor. So I need a woman that's kind of like that can kind of get zhuzhed up and go out the stiletto high heels with my tuxedo. Great, but for the most part, I'm not into trying to. This is me. I'm the jeans and t-shirt type of guy. You know what I mean? Like that's it. I go to a nice restaurant. Yeah, I'll put a polo on and a pair of khakis. But meh, I'm a chill. Like, yo, what's up, dude? Like that's my demeanor, my outward look. You get to know me. I'm as serious as a heart attack. But my thing is, yeah, I'm like, like I'm goofy. That's me. So, anyways, that's my demeanor. You want to find now a demeanor that's similar to you. So if you're someone that's very serious and buttoned up, and you go out to the local Starbucks and you're dressed to kill. Everything is always on point with your look, and everything is creased and ironed at all times. Like my grandfather, my grandfather, I swear to God, every day of his life, every fucking day of this man's life, may he rest in peace. Nonno, nonno's Italian, grandpa. Anyways, my nonno, swear to God, shirt and tie, suit, pants. This man did not own a pair of sneakers. He didn't own a pair of shorts. He didn't own khakis. It was shirt and tie every fucking day, shirt and tie and or suit. Winter, spring, summer, fall, did not matter. Fucking tie went on, the dress shirt went on. I don't know where he was going because didn't have a pot to piss in, but you'd think he'd be going out to a wedding every day. That was his demeanor, like on point, like, and that's cool. That's not me, I don't know, you do you. So, anyways, demeanor. Disposition is another thing you want to look for in a relationship for your perfect match. Disposition would be, person's habits and tendencies. So, like, that's a big umbrella, right? Like, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I exercise, I eat healthy, I eat clean. I go to bed, I get every day at the same time, I get 8 hours of sleep. My habits and tendencies, my disposition. My disposition is typically happy-go-lucky for the most part. I can pout, bitch and complain, but generally speaking, I'm like, I bust chops, I make jokes, I make fun of myself. That's my disposition. my tendencies, so you want to find someone with the tendencies similar to yours. Doesn't have to be exact, but generally speaking, should be in that wheel well. Um, back to my grandfather, I guess. But like my grandfather was not one to joke around, like easygoing guy though, but just not much to say. His disposition was quiet as a fucking mouse pissing on cotton. I don't think I've heard this man say 2 words his whole fucking life. You know what I mean? And so, but that's his disposition. So if you like that type of guy or girl, so yeah, disposition is another important thing you want to look for. The other thing would be morals. Like that's a core one. I mean, so morals matter, right? If you're someone that's like, no, I love, cheating and stealing and I fucking do drugs. I love it. You know, whatever, hang out at strip clubs, all that shit. That you do you know what I'm saying? But I mean, like, yeah. And morals is kind of almost an easy lift. I mean, most people are not axe murderers. Most people are not going to be drug addicts. And again, not that I'm not saying drug addicts are bad people. Axe murderers are. But my point is morals, right? Like, cheating and conniving and being nefarious, like, that's not someone you want to be around. Someone that is only out for themselves, again, and there's a lot of people like that. Hey, if that's what you like, you do you, but you want to have someone with the morals, I should say, that kind of mirror yours. If there's someone that's going to church every Sunday or mosque or synagogue every Sunday, and that's important to you, you want to find someone with those morals, those types of morals. And again, not all morals are, like, just because you don't go to church every single Sunday, it doesn't mean you're an immoral person. But my point is, like, morals is a scale too. You know what I mean? If you're someone that says prayers 7 hours a day, and it's a non-negotiable, hey, you do you. You got to find someone that's like that. You know what I mean? Anyways, what else? Financial, right? You can't be like, if you're shit fucking into debt up to your eyeballs, you're into debt for whatever, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you just love using that credit card for emergencies. That's cool, but you got to find someone that's also into debt, because if I am buttoned up and I have no debt, I am not. I might go on a date with you, but I'm not getting into a serious relationship with someone that's like, granted, if your debt is because, like, you went to medical school and now you're a neurosurgeon, different story. But if it's just like, or I like to, spend money and I have 95 pairs of the high-end leather shoes and I like to go on 9 vacations a year and I'm up to debt into my eyeballs because I have to drive a Mercedes, or else, I don't own it. I lease it, but I'm up to debt, like, yeah, like that, you know what I mean? Like debt, like bullshit debt, quote unquote bad debt. Like if you're going to be with somebody, well, yeah, if that person doesn't have their financial life in order, that's a big red flag. And again, hey, if you're someone that's like, no, I like people who are in debt because I'm in debt, that's probably who you should kind of be with. You can't be like, no, I want to find someone that's not in debt. No, you can't have someone be your daddy or mommy. You have to birds of a feather flock together. So if you're someone that's like, hey, I have no debt, and you should gravitate to someone that's like that, either little to no debt. Again, you might not care if the person has $1 million in debt, then that's cool, you do you. But debt, financial, you got to be on the same financial page, so to speak. So whatever that is, as long as you're both financially on the same page there. I'll say fitness too. Like for me, I'm like, bro or girl, if I'm like, lady, like if you can't, I need someone to be going to the gym or exercising daily. Like that's a big thing in my life. It doesn't have to be the gym. It could be you swim, you walk, you hike, you tennis, you doing jumping jacks, whatever, but I mean, like, yeah, because if you're with someone, it's like, no, I'm just going to be on the couch for 9 hours. I'm going to binge watch, I could do that on the weekends, or I don't like to sit as much as possible. That's cool. Then you need to find that person that is into a sitting lifestyle like you are, not someone who's into fitness, so I think fitness levels kind of matter. Like my parents, they're good for each other because they both kind of generally have the same fitness lifestyle, and that is almost zero. Like they just do sitting and watching television. That's all they've ever done ever. My father, by a smidge, might do a little bit more walking than my mother, but generally speaking, they both have the same mentality, and that is we sit, we watch television, and we do more sitting. That's cool. Like it works for them. You know what I'm saying? God bless. And they have a good marriage. You know what I mean? For me, I need someone that's like, nah, like we're not doing that. I can't be with somebody who's gonna be like, nah, I just want to sit and watch XYZ. No, don't get me wrong. A little television is fine. Watch a movie, it's fine. But if that's if that's your disposition, if that's your tendency, that might be a deal breaker. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I would also say eating habits. You want to find someone that likes to eat. You like to eat. So if you're into if you're a vegan, you probably want to find. I'm not a vegan, but if you're a vegan, let's just say you want to find someone who's either a vegan or eats really, really ultra clean. You know what I mean? So, but if you're into hot dogs and hamburgers and cake and cookies and chips and candy and sodas and iced teas and lemonades and Coca-Colas and Pepsis and Diet Coke, wink, wink, because you're on diet. But you know what I mean? Like, if you're into that, that's cool. Then you need to find somebody who's into the hot dogs and the hamburgers and the fried this and the fried that and sitting in the cake and the cookies and the chips and the desserts and the snacks. You need to find that person, because there's no way you're gonna somebody who's eating ultra clean is gonna, how do you live? I mean, you know what I mean? How do you even date when it's just like, yeah, I'm not going to a fast food joint ever. Like, no, so we can't. You need to find someone that's going to be kind of in your wheel well. And again, there's no right or wrong. You do you. But I would say also personalities. I'm very sarcastic, goofy. I'm a ball buster. In my mind, how I am is I make fun of the people I love, and I want the people who love me to make fun of me, not to try to hurt me, but to bust my chops, like in a loving way. That's how my background is. That's the kind of the Italian way, or Latin way. There's other cultures where you don't do that, and in other cultures, even joking for love, big no. So you have to find someone who has your personality type, who's, generally speaking, because like my best friend is not a ball buster. He's definitely not someone who's considered, super outgoing, funny, goofy. But below that, he really enjoys that, but he just doesn't deliver that. So, at the minimum, you want someone who kind of celebrates you for your seriousness or celebrates you for your goofiness and comedy. You know what I mean? So personality matters, big time, because I've matched up perfectly on pieces of paper with, oh, you like this, I like that, you like this, I like that, but our personalities were just diametrically opposed, So you want someone who's going to, be into the kind of comedy you're into, someone who likes to be either quiet like you or out or loud like you, generally speaking. I would also say religion, like generally speaking, right? I mean, if you're someone who's like hardcore Jewish or hardcore Muslim or hardcore Christian or cat, you're going to have to find that person, right? But if you're like, I'm only a Muslim in name only, I'm only a Jew in name only, I'm only a Christian in name only, all right, then you get somebody who's not too hardcore, you know what I mean? But religion typically can be a sticky point, so you want to, you know I would say too, like, generally speaking, yeah, I understand you know people who married different cultures, different races. I get that. I was also in a multicultural relationship, but generally speaking, Italians will know Italians, you know, Nigerians will know Nigerians, the Irish will know the Irish, Japanese will know Japanese. Birds of a feather flock together. It's one less hurdle. I'm not saying that you should stick with your own, but it's one less hurdle, so there's less explaining to do. Again, I, you know, I've been with women who were not Italian and an absolute pleasure. And I've been with women who were Italian and goddamn nightmare. So, and I'm Italian. So, but generally speaking, yeah, it's you get each other's culture. You don't gotta. There's not a lot of explaining that has to be done. That's a plus. So, anyways, but what else? I would say too, connection to one's family. Like especially if you're looking to get into a serious relationship or marriage, like you know, I don't know. I mean, like my father's an orphan. My mother's not. So my mother is very, 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 you know, connected to her family, especially when she was a younger woman. And that was perfect for my dad because my dad didn't have a family. Perfect. But if my father had a family of, if he had a mother and a father and siblings and cousins, I don't know, man, that might have been a big bone of contention because my mother was attached at the hip to her mother, my grandmother, up until my grandmother's death. I mean, like, that's tough because like everything revolved around my mother's side, and my mother got lucky because my father didn't have a side. So, but what if my father had a side? What would happen then? So if you're going to be with somebody, like, how close are you to your family, and how close are they to their family, and you know how flexible you're going to be with that. So, because the old saying, when you marry somebody, you marry the family. That's true. Or, if you don't have a family like my father, then okay, easy lift for the other side. But, or maybe my father could have been like, no, I'm an orphan and I don't like family. I just like to have our own little family. I don't want to be attached to your family. That could have been too, right? So that's something that my parents, I am assuming they talked about when they were dating. Who knows? Um, what else? I would say distance matters. Come on, let's be honest, right? I don't want to hear about this. Oh, you love each other, you make it happen. You listen, if I'm in Jersey and you're in Mongolia, come on, honey, ain't gonna work. So again, one less hurdle. It helps to be. I'm not saying you got to be across the street, but you're within 10-mile radius. It makes things a little bit more doable. That said, too, time and availability. You could live across the street from me, but our work hours are absolutely diametrically opposed. How the hell are we gonna have a relationship? I mean, you know what I mean? So timing matters, distance matters. Those are things you got to look at. Those are kind of obvious though. And then I would say the communicating. I think when we date, especially when we date for marriage, not you people in your 20s and 30s, pay attention. You know, you really got to iron things out ahead of time. I know I've been guilty of not doing that because we just think like, oh, love will just carry us, and not really. I mean, you have to communicate. Hey, look, this is what I expect. This is what I need. This is my 2 or 3 non-negotiables, my whatever, 2, 3, 4 non-negotiables. The other, like, and I think we sometimes fail to do that. And the first couple months of dating, that's easy. Anybody can do that. You're hanging and banging, you're vacationing. Oh, baby, you're hot. Get past the fucking first year, see what happens. Go through some ups and downs. You know what I mean? Because a year of dating is not really a year of dating. You're not with the person every single day for 365 days. And if you think marriage is serious, then you should treat it as such. It takes 4 years to become a preschool teacher, right? You got to go through 4 years of college. Well, then it should take a minimum of 4 years of dating before you can get married. If you think marriage is serious. If you don't think marriage is serious, then yeah, get married after a year of dating. Get married after 5 months of dating, whatever. But the more time you can put into it and disclose and converse, and hey, what do you expect? Like I dated a girl many years ago, and she, to her credit, we had a conversation about what do you expect for, like, if we were to get married, like what do you expect from a marriage? And she said, well, I expect that, both of us would work, which is an easy lift. Most people do. But then she's like, well, this is how much money I expect both of us to bring in as a unit per year. And I was like, and it was a pretty high number. And I listen, I make a living, I do good, I'm, whatever. But I was like, oh, okay, wow. Okay, you expect that, huh? And I told her, so listen, I if you divide it by 2, I can pull in, that relative number most of the time, but I own a business, and it's ebb and flow. Anybody who owns a business, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Ford Motor Company or you're the guy selling hot dogs on the street corner. You have up years and down years. And I'm like, and so she's like, yeah, no, there's, like that's what I expect, no exceptions. I was like, well, I'm not the guy for you then. If you can't be flexible in that, uh, yeah, I really appreciated her owning it and being an adult and being upfront with that with dating. It's just like, this is what I expect. Cool, got it. I wish you the best. And she was a sweetheart. It's a damn shame because all the other metrics, we were on point. But the money thing, like what she expects as a lifestyle, and I was like, all right, cool. But I was a little bit disappointed too. I was like, damn, really? I thought I kind of knew her, and boy, when it came to that money, it was just like, and I wasn't asking her to cover me or anything like that, but she was just like, yeah, I got this expectation of my life. I need X amount of dollars coming in per year. She's a hard worker. She makes good money. but she wants a guy that, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess you're willing to forsake the other attributes that are important, morals and disposition and demeanor and family and all that stuff. But okay, money matters more than all of those things. Totally get it. And she was honest, and I applaud her, and I wish her the best. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, so that matters. Like having those conversations ahead of time with people, what you want. Hey, I under no circumstances want children. There's none. There's none. Or hey, under all circumstances, I want children. Either we're going to have a child naturally, or we're going to go in vitro, or we're going to adopt, or we're going to foster. But we will be having whatever, 2 kids or 1 kid, no matter, or 3 kids, whatever it is, right? Like you got to iron that out. Like, you okay with adoption if you can't have your own biological or fostering or in vitro, or, you're willing to sell, a lot of your belongings to get this child to have the medically, assisted baby, uh, or have adoption, which is very expensive. Or, yeah, we're not having kids at all. I don't want kids. Like you got to have those conversations, and where are we going to live, and all this shit. And I think that's important to have conversations, and not get lost in the sex and the vacationing and the partying. That's nice, but if you're dating to get married or to live together, especially marriage, like you got to have serious, like, business like conversations prior. And I know it's not romantic and all that shit, but you know that's why I think the divorce rate's 50% actually, because I think, and then the other 50 are not exactly perfectly happy. But I've done the show like this before. I think only 10% of marriages are happy after 10 years. So most people aren't happy in their marriages, and I think that's because they don't do the homework and the research and the asking of hard questions when they're dating and courting, and they don't court for enough time. But anyways, so yeah, sex too. I mean, what do you expect for sex? I mean, like, if you're someone that's like, you got to have sex every day, okay, that's cool. I know people who were like, yeah, if I don't have sex, 4 times a week, that's a deal breaker. Like, they won't marry that person. That person has to prove that over the months and years of dating. Like, wow, I think it's a little shallow, but hey, you know, who am I, right? Like, you do you. Like, if that's how you roll, cool. Or you might have someone that's like, yeah, sex is not a big deal to me. I only want it once every 2 months. You have to find someone who is kind of like that, for you, So again, communication, and it sucks because it's not romantic, but we communicate and we put our best foot forward and work really hard at all the other shit in life. Isn't love worth, having hard conversations? So anyways, take it from me because I learned the hard way. I hope that helps. What do you think makes a perfect match? I want it below. Comment, you son of a bitch. All right, thank you, everybody. I'm out of here. DJ Tony, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hasta la vista, baby.